patiently in Twitch world.
Which patiently in Twitch. Yes.
Oh yes, I gotta actually pull up the Twitch channel for the views.
Yeah, we got to get all the views. All the views. All right. I'm about to blast this everywhere. Man, there's just so many windows to look at right now.
So many buttons.
So
Do
many
you have a quad
buttons.
monitor?
I missed the Prime. I was thinking about it. I was like, should I get another one? I should have got the third monitor. All right, we are we're live and we have special guests in the house for, well, they're in their houses. For our Coach Rivals midweek stream, which is kind of becoming a normal thing. Our Wednesday special, week 3.5. We've got Mr. H coming to you live, as well as Aegis Ultimate Newcaster in Coach Rivals World. Welcome to both of you.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for bringing me in.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm
Always
excited.
love the opportunity.
If you watched the previous upload of last week's game, Aegis was on there with Ronnie, so you get to see him again. And if you're familiar with Coach Rivals casting in Rocket League or last season's season, then Mr. Hernandez is not new to you. But if he is new to you, then welcome. You're in for a treat. Two guys who know a lot about League and love getting hyped. So excited to be here and listen to this show
Yeah.
pop off.
Am I shoutcasting or am I color casting? You pick, Aegis.
Still learning what those terms mean.
I think
Are
play
you
by
play
play.
play? Play by play or are you color?
I can do color.
Okay. Play by
That's what I
play.
did last time. I didn't do the play-by-play last time.
I can scream.
Yeah, so we're here and people are coming into the chat, so welcome. Lucas is here. I think we've got a watch party going on in the Discord server. Make sure everybody also watches the Twitch stream. Got to get those views up. We hit affiliate.
Yes.
Woo! But more importantly than any of that is tonight's game is going to be pretty important. We've got Team Tragesty versus Just Good Enough, and both of these teams are currently undefeated in the season.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Both of them are 2-0. Actually, I'm on Coach Diff, and my team's actually 3-0. So it's gonna see who's gonna come up to tie us in the standings.
Yeah, so this one's important, and the last couple games, like we saw Tragesty played recently, with a team comp that just looked like they had spent days studying that matchup to see what to do, and they had just this CC bomb combo. And so I'm curious to see if Just Good Enough taken anything from that and where they're going to focus in on this game to try and shut down that Tragesty, just that truck that came to the Rift last week. But that being said, Just Good Enough is actually quite good and has been doing some really impressive things in their own right. And just to kind of give those tuning in right now, this is probably also one of our more equally balanced matchups across each lane. So in the Coach Rival season, we have a lot of different ranks in each of those roles, which is kind of what makes it pretty fun. And we in this game we have bronze to plat going on. So, but in this one we have even matchups for most of these lanes. So we have two junglers in the plat 1 arena. So I mean, I'm thinking that we're going to be seeing some really fun and really impressive jungle plays coming into this game. And I think that the bot lane is going to be really, really intense as well. As we've got gold and bronze silvers in there. So gold ADC versus gold ADC. Both captains for the teams are in ADC. So yeah, I'm looking for plays all over the map.
And actually, I believe these two junglers, KC9, Eric 29, are the most experienced players in the league, in terms of rank, especially in the jungle position. So they've in each of their games they've had a huge influence on it. So I expect those two making plays around the map and to really have effect on the lanes.
Yeah, and being high ranked in jungle is impressive in its own right. So, like I said, I'm excited to see some of the play making that'll be going on there. Um, but then across everywhere. Um, it looks like the teams are loaded up, but we're gonna get started here in just a couple minutes, everybody. But yeah, I mean, we've seen the duo combo on Tragesty and with Neshama and Piper Maru, extremely efficient. Um, and we've also seen in the mid lane position, Evrai has been able to hold their own too. So I'm just really excited to see where both of these teams can go because at the end of this game, only one is going to be sitting in that top spot.
Well, sharing that top spot.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me.
Just clarify
Pardon me.
that.
I apologize. I don't want to. I don't
Oh
want to
man,
put
maybe
you.
I really shouldn't be the one over here. It's doing that, do the commentating, the play-by-play. No, I'm excited. I did cast a game earlier this season from week 1 with Team Tragesty. Or no, I think it was actually, just good enough, and it was a very close game. I think that was probably the longest game we had so far in Coach Rivals this summer. So, hopefully these 2 do like I said, I just expect a huge brawl.
Yeah, I mean, this one uh, could go long. I mean, both these teams have won quick games, but you know, anything's possible. I think watching some of these previous matches where a lot of plays have been tried to be made is in Dragon. We've seen a lot of posturing in Bottom River to make that objective happen. And so with these high level junglers, I'm curious if and kind of the mental games that both these teams seem to be able to play. I'm curious to see what kind of objectives they're actually going to be playing around. Will they be giving up Drakes in exchange for Rift Heralds? You know, are we going to see those kind of plays? Are we going to see any TP plays coming out of top lane? You know, that's what's going to be interesting to see. You know, going back to these junglers, which I think is going to be an impactful part of this game, is how are they going to open these this one up? And and if we're going to see a lot of aggressive invades too, I mean, we've seen some of that counter jungling, and you know, I feel like this matchup has a chance to incorporate all of those big style plays, because both of these teams want to hold on to that spot so they can face off with you, Mr. H, and contest it once more. Um, but yeah, I just think that there's a lot of opportunity in this because both teams know that there's some serious standings on the line here.
Mm.
And yeah,
Yes,
and also
exactly,
I was just
and
about to say, our Dr. Moore, thanks for the shout out, and also shout out to our third caster here, Aegis, coming in to coach Rivals, first time on the stream with us, was previously on a recording with uh, Ronnie. Man, I get you all mixed up so much.
Aegis, how does it feel to be live?
Well, jumping straight in from a recording, straight into a live session. Not gonna lie, probably should have watched a few of the games that these teams have played, so I knew kind of the players a little bit better than I do right now. But I am walking into this game with like a fresh kind of view on any play that happens and no biases as well. So,
True, true.
um, we will see what I can come up with when I'm watching the game. Although I will say that as you guys are talking about past games, really don't have anything to add because I didn't do my homework.
Which is just fine. It's actually kind of cool to have you come in now, not having any biases, like you said, and just in looking at the game, like you said, with those green, fresh eyes, and to say like this is what I'm seeing. I know from listening to the match you did with Ronnie, your um, analytical ability is really impressive, and I'm really excited to see what you think about these matchups for these teams. Um, and that because that analyzing is super fun. Um, and really nerdy and super exciting. And then also just the ability to break down like where these items are going. If anyone listened to the latest edition of Rift Happens, there was a lot of talk about itemization and building
That's
items.
right.
So,
Brand new
Also,
patch tonight.
yeah, we
yep,
do have to take into account that we are playing on 11.13 tonight, which just rolled out, and there are 2 new items on the Rift.
tell us about them.
I'm
What do you
I'm
think?
And
What
kind
do
of
you
and
think?
a lot
excited
of
to
reworks coming through.
I
Some
am
price
a little bit
reductions. Yeah.
excited to see either of these 2 items. I would be okay with seeing either of them. So we can run through Hullbreaker first. Essentially, it's Yorick's best friend, and any top laner that really likes split pushing will get a lot of use out of this item. It's kind of like bringing back a very old summoner spell called Promote, which allowed you to promote a minion inside of a wave, which essentially gave it like a pseudo kind of Baron buff, which, obviously Baron buff, especially on those cannon minions, is pretty small or large or good.
Yes.
There is a word there. So, but the Hullbreaker's passive is something that I'm really interested in seeing because a top laner, like if you think of a juggernaut top laner, like let's say like a Camille, who takes those 1v1 fights while split pushing, and if you can win that 1v1 fight, you can be like a massive presence to the enemy team because all of a sudden they have to peel off several people from maybe an objective fight to deal with a split pushing top laner. That could be a massive issue for either team. The passive gives 20 to 45 armor and magic resist, I'm assuming based on level, and 20% increased damage to towers while there is no allied champions nearby. Nearby minions gain 60 to 135 armor and magic resist and had deal 200% increased damage to towers. This is going to make like that Tryndamere style split push where you run into the lane, push it really hard, and then leave. It's going to make that a lot faster, and it's also going to make it a lot more dangerous, especially if you let them get up to a tower, because there is no games later into the game when you have 2 to 3 items. You will take that turret if the enemy team does not respond by rotating fast enough.
So
Um,
here's my question. Because do you know who's a top laner in this chat? Mr.
I do not. Oh,
M.
really? You are, huh?
And I play Teemo,
Yeah,
so
summer
you know,
rework top laner.
yeah, summer rework. He's flexing his top lane muscles. Um, I mean, do you think that we're gonna like? Do you think both these teams are just gonna go? You know what? Let's try Hullbreaker. Let's build a split push comp. You think they're gonna crack it this
It's
this tonight?
so I know that Decker guy. He's probably one of the top laners, top laners, in the league right now. He's been very effective in the top laner, great wave management throughout the season so far, and I haven't really seen him. So he's 2-0, right? So I've seen him play in the first game. I think he played Nocturne. Um, and I forget what he played otherwise besides that. But Nocturne is someone who can make use of that item. But also Nocturne can also make great use of Stridebreaker, even in its current form, because he can get on the backline squishy. And Nocturne already pushes very strong. So it's gonna
90%.
be about like how comfortable the top laner is already to make that split push happen. You have to have great communication with your team. You need to be able to set up a 4-1 properly. You need to be asking for the right resources. And if one of these top laners can do that, can effectively do that within their team composition, then those items are going to be great. And one of the things with playing 5v5 is having that team mentality, having that team communication. And so that definitely helps when you're trying to set up that split push and ask for those resources from your team. But if anyone tries to come into this with the solo queue style, I mean that's gonna
Ooh.
that's gonna be something that that Tragesty can definitely punish on a weak side, or just good enough if Coach Magros decides to push that item.
We just got the chat's just letting us know they played Mordekaiser. That was the other.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, this
And
is a really
honestly,
great
both of
question.
those are very strong split pushers, both those champs.
So this is the question I was wondering is, and Dr. Strange Glove, hilarious name, welcome. Is does Hullbreaker work for ranged champs? If that's the case, that seems so busted.
There does not seem to be
It doesn't seem on there,
any
does it?
melee or range stipulations on this passive, and I didn't even think about that. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because if you also think about the items that it builds from, because obviously you're not going to be working with the item passive until you build the full item. But the two items that it builds from are a pickaxe and phage. Now, obviously, phage is a pretty good all around item because of the sturdy passive, which helps you heal. It's great for like taking those trades in lane, and it's when I play top lane, I do like picking one up pretty early. It's it's that seems pretty good. Two really decent items to build out of. I think this item's probably looking at a nerf pretty soon.
Well, you got to get through one day of it before they can try and, oh God, see the stats and watch it crumble. But like
Oh
going,
my god.
thinking about the ranged potential for this thing, as someone who is afraid to fight in top lane, so only plays ranged top laners, I think about like split push Teemo, or like, are we gonna see other ranged types come back to the top lane and maybe
Oh,
try this thing out, or are we gonna see some more lane swapping, right? So like, why not swap this thing out and see what happens when someone else takes Hullbreaker and moves up to the top lane. So like, I mean, I think there's just a lot of potential for different play styles going on.
you know
Um,
what I wonder? I am honestly deathly terrified of Quinn's roaming potential. And
That's who
I
I was
know
thinking
that
about. Yeah.
Quinn generally builds crit, right? But I think with Hullbreaker, there could be some sort of pseudo bruiser style build for Quinn that does use a Hullbreaker in it that allows her to not only split push top lane, but also try and quickly take turrets in general all across the map, which could be an interesting kind of deal. And another interesting thing that I see wording wise in the passive that I'll have to keep a lookout for, it does only say increase damage to towers, not inhibitors,
that's interesting.
which I find very interesting. So, a kind of an inhibitor, which is funny because normally you think of the inhibitor being exposed as being a bad thing, but like an inhibitor may stop a hull breaker push because you can get over to that inhibitor fast enough, which I think is a good balanced decision for this item because obviously it seems pretty strong. I see the comment about Nasus. That's terrifying.
Yeah,
There are just so
already
many
disgusting,
scary
right?
people.
Like NASA's already just deplete and deletes towers. So,
I
oh,
also
now
want
you're
to
just
talk
faster.
I also want to talk briefly about the other item, which I am more or less more excited about because of my status as a Leona main.
Oh, hold that thought. We're drafting.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
There we go.
This
So
could be
we
interesting.
have begun. Looks like both teams are ready to go. So we're looking at our first bands coming in, and what do you know?
Think
Diana
about
Man.
Hovering Diana.
Tragesty. I think they really should target just good enough jungler case of the night. I think that'll be a really good strategy for them.
Yeah, so we see a Diana and a Rek'Sai coming in early. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if they do that. And a lot of times we've talked about, well, if they've got such a big champ pool, is it worth it? Because they can just pick up that other champ. And as we see, they did ban out that Mordekaiser. So, and then the
Very
Nocturne
quick
coming
bans
out
coming
too.
out so far.
Yeah, they seem like they already know what they're gonna ban beforehand. Like they've already worked all this stuff out, it seems.
Yeah,
I'm extremely curious about the Rek'Sai ban. Has Rek'Sai been like very strong in coach rivals? Because personally, I haven't seen a Rek'Sai in a very long while.
I don't know if I've seen that in this season yet, which could just be um, a ban based on previous matchups. So I don't
Just
know.
research, honestly. I mean, Rek'Sai is a strong jungler, can definitely influence the map by getting vision and information on the opposing team. So, I mean, that's definitely something that they might be looking out for from Eric 29. But Xin Zhao coming out a first pick for Team Tragesty, very coveted pick, and with so far no enchanters really being taken off the table, that can really get paired well with Team Tragesty's team. A lot of options I can go with. Very strong jungler. Oh, and Zaya buff actually coming in. We'll see if that comes into play. Not really, because Zaya maxes Q last. Oh, and the Viego.
Ooh.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a huge fan of Viego. I have been spamming this guy.
I I have to agree. I love playing Viego. He is I've been trying to learn jungle right now, and I've been leaning on like he is my crutch right now because I love playing him. His jungle clear is insanely good, and I mean his gank potential isn't even that bad. It does seem like with his W, it's a great gap closer. His E is I mean it announces you're in lane, but also doesn't tell the enemy laner where you are. I think it's pretty good pick,
And
and
Viego jungle just got a small buff
it did, yes.
to his E.
I'm very excited to play that buff myself.
I would just make
And
a
then we
note
get that
here that Morgana does go through for Team Tragesty, and that was talked about in Rift Happens. That is a main, that is the support main for Team Tragesty. So we'll see if that
Ooh.
Hyper
Black
Mario
Shield,
gonna be pulling that out, yeah.
yeah, so we'll see if that Black Shield comes into play. The Zaya's already been picked, so we'll have to see. Picking in that support early is going to give just good enough a lot of information on who they decide to play in the bot lane. They basically just said don't play any hook champs, which is, you know,
Yeah,
they just shut down a whole lot of support options for just good enough.
as um as like I love playing like I said earlier, I love playing Leona. Morgana's always my insta ban. I never even play with leaving her on the table because if I pick before the enemy support, I already know it's going to be a Morgana, and that is a disaster for an all-in or a hook champion in bot lane. Anyone that relies on CC hates that champion.
And it looks like there was a bit of an error. At least maybe that's a spectator bug for me.
Yeah, it could have been
I'm
a
not sure.
glitch. We've had some pro draft issues. It feels like we can't go a game without a misclick or something. So we'll see. And League just patched, and it looks like it's having some bugs as well. So, but we should be, they'll talk to each other as coaches and let each other know what's going on before we get into that next pick. Um, but yeah, I mean the Annie's coming out mid. Annie can be a terror in the late game, so we'll see if that is a play. What are you seeing, Aegis, so far in these first three? Um,
Ah, I mean, I have to say that the Xin Zhao and Morgana combo is pretty good for like that Xin Zhao diving into a backline, you put a black shield on him and he cannot be stunned. Alongside his ult, that could cause a lot of chaos, especially if Annie is outside of his ult range, because that Tibbers, I don't know if that still stuns, but it definitely won't do any damage, which pulls a lot of damage out of Annie's combo. That is a very interesting Nautilus pick.
oh,
Straight into
Nautilus
the
into the
Morgana.
Morgana. Yeah, that's
That is a little awkward for the
It's
Nautilus, I
it's
feel.
gonna be a skill check, Do you land your binding? I mean, do you land your black shield
yeah.
before the Nautilus hook comes in and
I
hits
feel
all
like
your CC? But also Nautilus with the passive. has
Yeah,
3 forms of CC that need to get blocked.
but I also have to say that Nautilus does do AP damage. So early game they may be playing for breaking the shield rather than playing around its cooldown, but if you even if you're late on the black shield for Nautilus's hook, he can't land the root. So technically your AD carry can still just walk out of it. But Nautilus into Morgana and Sivir, I feel like that is a very rough matchup for Nautilus.
And that Sivir Morgana, I think, is the same comp that Tragesty played in the bot lane in their last game. So they're comfortable on that. Oh, it's Fiora top. That's a new champ that we haven't
I
seen
have to
Yeah.
yet.
say, Fiora does split push. So
Here comes
I'm
Hullbreaker.
wondering I'm wondering if it's gonna be here.
And I actually got some information on Just Good Enough's ban. That was actually a Silas ban.
Okay, I
So
totally agree with that.
Silas, and then the Aatrox ban from Tragesty. So
Aatrox.
let's see here. So let's get everybody back into the client. Looks like we got some bugs, like I said. But yeah, we should be getting started in just a few minutes. So we've got 5 wide on both sides now. We've been making some assumptions, but what do you see? What do you see going on? I know we talked about this Morgana Black Shield problem, but now we're talking about Fiora split pushing. So what do you see in these two comps?
I see a very, very strong engage for Tragesty. Scion ult, Xin Zhao, Morgana's Black Shield, and I also see a decently strong team fight. Like, Scion's got a lot of CC. Set can cause a lot of havoc if he gets into the center of enemies, and they're not even missing poke. They're not sacrificing poke for good all-in because they have the Sivir. And Morgana's Q, I mean, putting someone in timeout for 3 seconds is very strong, especially because they don't really. Just Good Enough doesn't really have another tank aside from Nautilus. Viego is more of an assassin, and Fiora is a bruiser. And especially for Fiora, if you can't close the distance to heal, I should say Viego too, if you can't close the distance to heal off of the person you're trying to kill, you will die. And
then along with that, you're talking about that skirmishing from Just Good Enough. Yes, they can skirmish, they can keep fighting, while Fiora split pushes. But if they lose a 5v4 team fight, then that is going to spell disaster. They're going to be losing multiple objectives off of that. They're going to be answering the Fiora. Um, and along with that, if Tragesty can slow the game down, then there Just Good Enough has no wave clear. They have no way to stop any push that Tragesty can get going.
well,
Real
and
quick
and
before y'all
even
dive into that, I just want to make sure both y'all are in the lobby for our game. So
I am
I am
definitely not.
not.
okay, I sent
I
you
didn't
some
even get an
invites.
invite.
Nope.
Okay.
Can you try that again?
Yeah. Um, just
We
want to
may
make
have to
sure
both
that
relog.
Yeah, let me try relogging this.
Yeah, I'm going to as well.
Yeah. So sorry everybody, we're having a little bit of right client issues, but we're figuring it out.
Classic
But we'll get
spaghetti
started
code.
in
That
just
never
a moment.
happens.
Yeah, right. Always on game
Right.
day.
The client is perfectly fine and
Yeah.
nothing is wrong with it.
Huge patch came out. I know the last patch also had some issues. Um, so uh,
Riot is
hopefully the
never
issues
wrong.
aren't that um, they're working on the whole breaker nerf right now. So here we go. Uh, all right. So I'm gonna send y'all the.
Password is password.
All right. So we will be getting
Let me
started in
see.
just a
All right,
moment.
okay, I got in.
All right. Great. And Aegis, what about you?
Working on it.
I'm gonna send you the stuff. All right. So go ahead and find that game and load in, and we'll get started in just a minute. So Morgana is support though, so they don't really cancel each other out. Annie will do way more AP. So lots of good convo in the chat. Um, I'm just curious to see how these things are going to play out. You know, a lot of talk about how these matchups, champ for champ, even lane for lane in different lanes, how they're going to match up. So we're looking at skirmishes, we're looking at late mid-game team fights and dragon
Um,
fights, right?
I I may need someone to dip into spectator so that I can join because it says the game's full.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
I'll talk at this point.
There you go.
And I'm going to talk about my boy Viego because looking on Team Tragesty, those are some nice champions to steal their soul. Viego can play any one of those champions. Other than Sivir, you know who's Sivir, right? Xin Zhao, Sion, Morgana, Set. Those are very influential champions with their QWE basic abilities. Like any single one of those, let's see if Casey the Knight has the 10 champion mastery that he's going to need in order to like take these champions from their respective players and play them better than they are. That's what I want to see. I want to see this Viego pop off.
You want to see Viego give a lesson
Thing.
in how to play 5 other champs?
He is.
Exactly.
I mean, he is one of those champions that can take over a game if given the gold and the presence. And if he gets ahead early, it might be difficult to kind of stop him. And because he is a, new age riot champion, he is a great snowballing champion. And I mean, they have the CC for him, but that's only if they hit him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about that Tragesty engage and that CC. Um, so we'll see. I mean, Tibbers does a bonk, Nautilus does a bonk. You know, there's some CC going on over there. So I mean, I feel like we're going to see some posturing for sure around some of these objectives. Um,
And that needs to be Team Tragesty's plan. Just Good Enough needs to fight them at smaller numbers before Tragesty can show up to those objectives. That's how Just Good Enough wins this. Continue to push those fights and allow the Fiora to build up that split push potential and that split push threat. Because if she does that, nobody on Tragesty is going to be able to match that.
I
yeah,
do. I think Set may not have too much issue into Fiora in lane specifically, though.
That's actually going to be a Set versus Annie mid.
That's a Set mid.
That's what I'm guessing.
yeah. Well, yeah, with
Think.
the Scion,
Ooh.
and again, that Scion was so this comp last week was Sivir, Morgana, Scion for Tragesty. So they're sitting on 3 champs that they played last week that they played to a great effect. That Scion ult coming in for those huge knockups. So they're sitting on comfort right now a little bit.
Yeah, Coach Magros had huge ults in their match last week. That essentially won the game again. Team Tragesty had another close match that all their players had to step up for in the late game. So let's see if that sign can make that same effect, or is that going to get punished? Because again, that Decker guy has very strong wave mechanics and lane mechanics to manipulate the waves as they need to be manipulated during the match.
Yeah, maybe this is where we'll see some of those TP plays to come in. So if Fiora is just running it away in top lane, that's an opportunity for Coach Magros to move somewhere else on the map. And as Scion, you can move pretty quick to get the other side of the map, or you can TP in. So I think there's going to have to be some creativity um, as this game progresses. They have to be thinking about not just one win condition of like, okay, let's just do this and we'll be okay, but they're going to need to be thinking about, okay, what happens when? And then they need to shift and change. And I feel like we saw that in the very first game that Tragesty played, where they were behind a lot of the game. And then towards the mid late, they just kind of clicked and things just went right for them. So I think both of these teams are going to have those moments where something's not working and they have to make a shift. there's probably going to be a couple of those as the game goes on.
Yeah.
I do wonder a little bit about just Good Enough's ability to stay like in the game while their team is scaling, because I do have to say that Zaya is like a 3-4 item AD carry. She comes online and starts doing damage after she gets her IE, which is generally a 3rd or 4th item. Fiora needs at least her mythic, maybe another item to be a large threat. I think really the only baseline threats that they have are probably, I'd say, the Viego and Annie, because if Nautilus doesn't have any damage behind him, he's not really that terrible. So I'm a little worried because, I mean, Sivir, Morgana, they both do a decent amount of damage at early stages into the game, and they don't stop, especially if Sivir is running that lethality Dark Harvest build that you generally see on a Sivir. She is going to do a lot of damage to everyone but Nautilus and maybe Fiora. But when you're kind of banking on that Zaya and Annie to be blowing people up, if a Sivir boomerang hits them and takes them both out of the fight, what do you win with at that point?
Yeah, some of the keys to this game, I'm going to look at what Fiora builds second item around that 25-30 minute mark. And then between the two compositions, Just Good Enough definitely has the tougher composition to pull off. So it's easy to say like who wins draft, who's going to win like the team fights. But then it's just like, okay, what are the compositions meant to do? And can each team pull it off? So I don't want to be like, the team that plays better is going to win, because that's obvious.
Right. Yeah. True.
I think it's the team that adapts
teams,
better is gonna be the one that pulls this thing off.
I want to see who's going to play to their win conditions better.
Well, we will be getting started in just a minute. We're gonna give all the teams a little love with our intro video, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Woo, intro!
All right, so there you have it. That's all the teams in the Coach Rivals season. 8 teams in competitive, all putting it on the line each week, doing their best. And tonight we are just about to get loaded up into Summoner's Rift for this game, the moment we've all been waiting for. Sorry for the tech delays, but glad you stuck around with us. If you are just tuning in, we've got Mr. H on the cast. We've got Aegis joining us as well. And we've got the skins game. I hope I can get it transitioned fast enough. Is it gonna happen?
Gonna load onto the Rift very quick.
I know. Everybody's got such. There we go.
Such
Oh, we just
expensive
barely get to
skins.
see them. Come on. So we've got no Viego and no Nautilus skin. What do you guys think about that?
I wonder if they even have champion mastery. What's going on there?
We'll leave it up to decide as we watch the match. So, but yeah, I mean, this is going to be an exciting game, as we've already said. Both these games are sitting undefeated, or both these teams are sitting undefeated. And with us to talk about this matchup as it goes, as I said, is Aegis coming in, guest streaming with us for at least this match and hopefully more to come. And Mr. H is here as well. So if you're just tuning in, veteran Coach Rivals caster and player in the competitive season. So it'll be interesting to see and hear some of the things that you're going to give us as you've played against some of these matchups, you know, like what's going on, what's this like, and give us a little bit
It's
of
very
insight
scary. It's definitely very scary. A lot of pressure on everybody to just make stuff happen, and then that's when people make mistakes.
Yeah, do you get the jitters of the live stream live game jitters?
I, I, I just had caffeine. I just have a newborn. I got jitters.
I do. I'm wondering about the rune choice on the Sivir because I see lethal tempo, and that's not what I was expecting. Because when you see Sivir, at least at the rank that I play in, I normally see a Dark Harvest and a full lethality, but I'm kind of wondering if the Sivir is going to go like a full crit build, which could be interesting to say the least.
Well, there's, like you said, there aren't many tanks for them to get into, but with the flash coming up, Mantella to have to flash away immediately. They're going to keep chasing. Eric29 needs to get a couple more hits, but they're going to get away with Fixing Mantella away at 50% health and a great invade. Fixing Mantella a little bit slow to react there.
Burning that flash on set, especially in a mid lane, I gotta say, they did get the upper hand in startling their opponents, but I wonder if burning the flash, because yes, if they had gotten a kill, it would have been worth it, but
Erudite going in, gets the root onto Neshama. Sivir trying to push him away, and now there's going to be 5v3 here. Erudite is going to be the last in the charge. Eric29 jumps ahead. Is he going to get the knock-up? No, and Erudite actually has to get away at 50% as well. That bot lane is never going to get to the bot lane at this rate.
Yeah, it's a minute and a half in, and we've seen 2 skirmishes and almost a full team fight.
Although, as we did talk about the game that I did a podcasting of, I would like to point out that ward on the blue side red buff or blue buff that does give some vital information about jungle pathing.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of deep wards early on. I mean, there's 4 wards on red side jungle. So, I mean, it is lit up completely.
Eric29, in case of the night, actually going to start looking for each other down here. Case of the night, just spotting out his opponent.
4-man collapse if Viego stays on that too long. It's a very good thing he backed up there.
Actually, look at the Xin Zhao getting in here. He's going to get the 3rd strike. That's going to be the knock-up on Viego. Viego misses the smite, heals up. Eric29 does get the smite down on the ground as he steals some extra experience, going right back in. Charge in. Case of the Night gets knocked up again, and that's going to be a flash and death as he goes down there. Case of the Night, first blood.
Where was Viego's bot lane? I mean, they're not necessarily pushed into turret. They have the Nautilus. They have some great CC on him. I feel like they could have flipped that if they walked up early enough, but it seems like they were just either busy in lane or maybe didn't notice.
Yes, unfortunately, that's going to put Case of the Night very far behind. And we do see a bit of a pull in the mid lane. Good trade by Drake Prime. So first blood on Eric29 on the Xin Zhao. That's going to be making him feel really comfortable as he's a camp ahead.
It's a pretty decent 400 gold too, as well as that extra camp. I feel like
I want to see him push the double scuttle.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I really want him to go bot side for that other scuttle right now.
Actually, he's going to look for a bit of an invade again.
Oh, it smited that raptor away from KC. That is
2 camp lead, and they're going to go straight to this camp here. But there is a bit of an engage on the bot side. That's going to help that rift fight as Neshama has to blow a heal, and Piper Maru flashes away. And that is going to hurt the scuttle fight. Eric29, they're looking. This is what the next fight's going to happen. The engage comes in. Everybody gets the engage, but Fixing Mantella, no flash from earlier, and he's going to be knocked up. A 10 health goes down. Eric29 traded back. Case of the Night starting to get the refreshes. Neshama flashes away, and that's going to be a 2nd kill, double kill for that Viego. And now that's going to be Drake Prime slaying Case of the Night, and 2 double kills. That's going to be 2 going over for the Xin Zhao and 2 going for the set. However, Azov did show up over here on the Annie. Drake Prime does get the triple kill.
Ooh. That's a lot of gold on that set. I was a little bit worried when I saw him going mid lane, but he's got double buffs and a triple kill. Like, he's sitting pretty well right now.
And 10 CS and 2 kills for the Viego. That's going to help put him back up there, but also 2 kills and 18 CS for the Zinzal. He's going to be feeling pretty comfortable.
Although I do see they're both sitting on their first component items.
Oh no, Drake Prime hasn't recalled. Trying to push out the mid wave. Case of the Night there, but does not get a kill.
I'm a bit interested to see what this set is building now that Stridebreaker isn't exactly optimal on him. Doesn't put you behind your opponent. It looks like, yeah, the item components for a Blade of the Ruined King.
29 stealing that Scuttle. The Scuttle is still being contested. Case of the Night does go down again. That is going to be his 3rd death in 6 minutes as Ashama comes over to spin that boomerang into his face.
I do like Xin Zhao giving that gold over to Sivir because
as I'm getting pushed into the mid lane, Drake Prime goes on a rampage 4-0 6 minutes into the match.
gotta say that set is looking pretty scary right now.
All over the map. This is immediately getting out of control for just good enough.
Yeah, and just, you know, we talked about early on, well, you know, where are the objectives going to be? Is it going to be Drake? Are they going to be setting things up for other options? And it looks like the only objective right now is just getting in fights and feeding Set. That Drake is open and looks like maybe we might be getting some action. But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of skirmishing and a lot of fights early on.
And that was supposed to go in favor of just good enough. And Team Tragesty said, we will match your fights. And they are winning them early. Sends out that early pressure, Set that early fighting pressure. They're matching that.
I have to say that the 4K gold lead? No, that's not math. That's
3K.
Almost.
3,000.
It was almost right. I haven't done math in a while.
Well, what we see right now is Eric
looks like
29's
they're
top
setting
side,
up
and it's going to give Viego
And that's
that
going
Drake.
to be a dive, but that Dagger guy does get the kill. He's still alive in the top lane. The ball comes up from Coach Magros. That Dagger guy is just moving around, and that's going to be the
Still alive.
kill. What? Outplay that Dagger guy is showing them how it's done.
We
He says just
Wow.
enough. This is how you guys are supposed to be fighting. As the red team also takes Drake on the opposite side of the map.
That is pretty crazy. That not only did they lose that dive
Drake
topside,
here is going to be coming in, going to be hooked up, slowed up, stunned up. But is he going to be able to walk away? Of course, it's going to be a set. He says, let's fight. Erudite is going to be taking a
still
couple
gets out.
turret shots. He gets out. He almost turns it back over.
He's not careful. He's gonna take some extra minion damage on accident.
Eric 29 coming in, trying to get the kill onto Case of the Night.
Ooh.
Ever Azoth does get the stun. Erudite looks for a grab, but it's not there. Both teams decide to go on their merry ways.
Very indeed. Almost that shutdown on the set, going on to one of them. It would have been amazing for Viego if he had gotten that, but not quite.
And just watch Eric 29 follow Casey of the Night around this map. But there's going to be 3 collapsing over at this red buff. 3v2. Casey of the Night still no ultimate. Casey of the Night goes, and Eric 29 sweeping slash and gets the kill. No Viego resets today. Eric 29 also taking out Andy. And he goes down that Dagger guy with 2 kills under his belt, seeing if he can make the outplay happen. He just did it a second ago. But is he going to be able to get away? Yes, he does.
Right through the wall. Ooh. It's a bit close for that Fiora. But nonetheless, she does get out. Straight through the wall. And Diego getting
And the
that red buff stolen
strategy.
from him. Ugh.
2
Feels
levels
bad.
down. Case of the Night is not feeling good right now.
As a jungler that has been in that position, oh man, it feels so bad to be in constantly getting that pressure while you're just trying to farm your camps. It's really rough for him, and coming back may require some lane taxing.
He's already done it in the mid lane. He's still 15 CS down.
Well,
Oh.
now we see what he's doing is he's just gonna take
Counter
the
invade.
the counterattacks. So you're gonna take my jungle, I'll take your jungle. And I mean that's a viable option. We see a lot of vision now in top side, red side jungle. So, you know, going down to the other buff, maybe curling around. So I think we talked about this earlier, that Fiora play up top, and just going back
Okay,
to
he's
that.
actually behind him here. He's looking for it. Piper Maru too far up the lane. It's just gonna flash away.
Flash.
Lands the roots.
Yeah.
And then the Shaman ultimate. But Xin Zhao's going into that tri-bush.
Here
There's
comes Eric
been
29.
no vision on him. Case of the Night. He sees him. He's spotted the Viego. Viego just ults away over the wall.
It does feel pretty bad to lose your ult before, like, being able to use it in a fight. I mean, it is a pretty powerful ult. When talking about the 99% slow that it brings, it's really good for ganking for that reason. So not having that for a little while, especially with everyone else's ults on the board, could be an interesting problem.
Looks like they're looking for a dive here. Back to Mactella. He is going in. The ulti comes out. Where's the feather pullback? There goes the stun under the turret. One kill goes down. Eric 29 gets it. And then the showstopper comes out. And that is going to be a dunk and a double kill for Eric 29. The root underneath the turret. Erudite is feeling very lonely, very scared. Eric 29 is looking for him as he takes down the last caster minion. As you hear an ultimate go off in the top lane. But Erudite is just going to keep flashing, hooking. Paipumaru, great juggle of the minion aggro, the tower aggro, and she gets out with 100 health. What a great play. What a clean turret dive.
Absolutely amazing use of her stopwatch right there. I do have to say that because, I mean, I'm not exactly sure if that is a free stopwatch from Runes, but if it was, that is pretty good value for it.
Yeah, that was great tanking and a really solid stopwatch play. Going back to what we talked about earlier in the pregame, talking about the Fiora, we've seen twice now that Dagger Guy has been able to get out of a really rough and really bad situation. One was that tower dive and top, and the other was that chase in the jungle. So I still think there's a lot of play potential.
Did not get the message that he's as far behind as he is, as he's going in on Eric 29. That Decker Guy comes down, the flash forward and the stun. That Decker Guy is here to push the fight, and the stun and the ultimate comes out. Coach Magros is now getting pushed underneath the tower, and Casey of the Night does get the final kill, but dies as Scion. I wonder if we might see a bit of a bug. No, just dies as Scion, steals his passive, and takes some minions. That was an interesting interaction there.
Yeah, it was the free stopwatch, part of the classic Morgana kit.
Yes. That is very good gold value for that stopwatch then.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was free. And I would like to point out the Kraken Slayer on Sivir, definitely not what I was expecting. Generally you see Sivers use their Q as their bread and butter damage, but it looks like this Sivir is going to lean slightly more into that general attack speed 80 carry build, which I'm a little bit interested to see because I do rarely see Sivers use that build.
So as we see, blue team now takes second Drake, and now we got 3 wide, maybe roaming down to the bot lane as Set moves away. Back to lane.
Again, just putting all the pressure in Case of the Night on this Viego. Really going to force him to perform at the highest ability right now. Erudite is not where he wants to be as he's going for a ward. He's going to get knocked up. Eric 29, 9 levels to 6. Erudite trying to Q out. He does. Case of the Night is here. Erudite does to get the ultimate off. Eric 29 sweeping slash and Morgana ultimate too. That is going to be a kill immediately, and Erudite has nowhere to go. Double kill for the Xin Zhao.
That was a very bold ult by Viego, ulting straight into the center of 3 people that are more or
and
less
the
very
for
much...
under ever Azoth is going down. Flash away, but it doesn't matter. Red buff tick. Eric 29 is on the board with 11.
Wow. It's, Xin Zhao has kind of taken over this game. am a little bit interested, and I would like to see him build some more damage, because the Stride Breaker, while very nice with Xin Zhao's kit, he'll start falling off if he doesn't keep
The
doing
root
the
comes
amount of
out.
damage.
Peppermaru is at 200 health, but they do not follow. Erudite was there, but no flash.
Yeah, and as chat said, no one's made an attempt at Herald yet. I mean, the objective has been just get kills, and it's definitely working for Team Tragesty. But yeah,
Which is interesting. They want to be fighting for the objectives,
Yeah.
but they're just taking every single fight. I mean, the objective is to kill the other team until they do not spawn anymore.
Yeah, as we see that Decker guy up in the top
There's actually
lane
going to be
getting
3 in the top lane. The
Triple
Decker guy has
gank.
already gotten away from 2. Does go put the ult down on Drake Prime, but it's not going to matter. Coach Magros has slain that Decker guy, as they are going to put 3 into the top lane, and they are going to show him 3-0. We don't care.
And that might be the play that opens up Herald, and that's just going to add even more to this Tragesty push.
And that's super unfortunate, because that Decker guy, that Fiora, is a win condition for just good enough. And it looks like this is going to be kind of a thorn in their side right now.
That 4K gold lead earlier we were talking about has now increased to 7K.
Oh my gosh.
That
is a sizable 16-minute lead.
That is about like 2-3 items, depending on how expensive they are. That is a pretty insane lead. And all the gold is concentrated on Xin Zhao and Set. 2 champions that are more than willing to hyper carry a game as well.
And there's going to be another turret dive. Eric29 has been pushing these. He's just going to go 2v1. Erudite doesn't know which way to go. Does he go to the turret? But no, the turret's not even there. But it's going to be a 4v1 as the other 2 come in from the bot lane. Eric29 does go unstoppable as he get one more kill, but he has brought his teammates into the wrong spot. Viego does get the reset.
That shutdown
going to keep
on
happening.
Fiora.
That Decker, he is here. He's going to put the ulti down on Piper Morrow. Casey the Knight does get the stun up, and now he is Morgana. Let's see if he's going to land the Q. Nope, he just sets it up on the wave. Farms that wave out.
I have to say, all those kills going on Fiora right there, that was extremely smart. Because, as you said earlier, that Fiora is their win condition, and getting her as much gold, getting her back into the game, not that she was really ever out of it, but it's an extremely good play.
Yeah, and just with the Xayah over onto the top side to keep catching those waves safely, because the wave's going to keep pushing into Xayah. Very smart play to put Fiora on the side that doesn't have any turrets. Get a little bit of a fight going on against Drake Prime on Set. Case of the Night just keeps going. Viego can keep going. The Haymaker comes out, the flash away, and Set is A-OK. 404, the only deathless one on the entire team. Eric29 actually looking for a fight. Erudite does go down. Coach Magros on the left side just handling Case of the Night, but Case of the Night on the Viego does start the reset. He is now, Showstopper comes out, and is he going to? Yes, he is now set. The pool beats over. Case of the Night is showing up. This is how you play your champions and Viego.
Like I always say, and one of my favorite reasons to play Viego is obviously that you kill a Fed carry and you become that Fed carry. Extremely good carry potential on that champion.
Yes. The plan is all coming together for Viego. As he has his Divine Sunderer complete, the fights are, I mean, let's see as they start to claw it back. It isn't as a 7,000 gold lead, but
we have a Drake collapse coming in.
Right now it's a 4v3.
I would love to see them take this fight now before Xin Zhao gets here, but it looks like they're going to prioritize the objective.
And then red team does slay. Xayah gets in there. That Decker guy is getting the kill. The reset, now the ulti, the heal. Case of the Night does go in, but no reset. Sion just lasts forever in the front line.
Erudite is going to keep chasing the backline. Fixin' Mantella does get a kill with the ulti, but answered by Nashaman. Triple kill for Zinzao. And is it going to be... Oh no, who has a quadra kill? Yes, for Eric 29.
Ace.
Wow. That is a 20-minute ace. I would like to see a Baron play pretty soon on the blue side here, because they've shown that they can bring their presence to a team fight and win that said team fight. So it could be extremely oppressive for them to get a Baron while red side's wave clear is still as small as it is currently.
And unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, Just Good Enough has no way to stall this game out. The only way they stall this game out is to just keep fighting. And with this goal differential at 7,000 again, it's going to be an uphill battle.
The amount of outplay that is going to be required to win this game is exponential at this point. But
oh no, Piper Maru getting caught out, clearing waves in the bot lane. Is she going to get away? She is going to run into a Viego, and Drake Prime is coming over to help her, but this is not where he wants to be. And Case of the Night does get the insta kill, and now is going to chase flash forward. He's still set, gets the pullback. No, Piper Maru was in the black shield. Flash forward from Erudite does not catch anything on the fishing hook, but Piper Maru is still going down. Case of the Night does steal the soul as Fixin' Mantell on the Xayah does get on the board with 2 kills.
Yeah, Casey popped flash for that chase on Piper. It almost didn't play off as but they were able to get it. So expensive chase with that flash.
yes, I have to agree there. Using 2 flashes for a support is a little bit questionable.
Oh no,
but
Case of the Night is stuck between 2 players, but of course, he's Viego. He's okay. He is out.
Ooh, that was close.
Those are the buffs coming in for Viego right there.
Gotta say, walking around in a jungle and all of a sudden being met with 2 people with red buff is pretty scary.
I mean, it is not over. As we get into this 22-minute, 23-minute mark, are we starting to see that scaling happening? As you know, that Viego farm is pretty high up there now, so they might be doing what they might be getting into the fights they want.
Disengaged
Back.
as Slot Train comes up. He misses everything, goes straight to the uprights, but it doesn't even matter. He could just soak up the damage. Is this going to be enough to push him back? They're just marching in. Coach Magros is leading the charge as Fiora is just top lane, wailing around at that turret. They're going to give up inhibitor. They know that they're giving up the inhibitor as they're allowing Fiora to get that split push moving.
I have to say, most people on blue side have their 2 items. Fiora is also at that 2 item point. And so is Viego. Those 2 champions, which can carry games, do have the potential. They're not as far behind as they were, say, earlier.
And Erudite barely misses the bush camp that was set up. It was very exciting.
I feel like the posturing is happening. We've got super minions coming in, some vision clearing from that split push Fiora. I feel like something's going to happen as this Drake's coming up in 30 seconds. So there's a lot of objectives on the board. Just have to see how JGE responds to this pressure that's just kind of definitely in mid lane, as Set's pushing out bot lane and Science pushing out top lane. Think they're going to have to give up this Drake, or is this going to be a fight?
It's course going to be a fight. There is no other question.
Here they come.
And we do need to say split push Fiora with a bit of an asterisk there, because that's the first turret. 26 or 23 minutes into the game, that's the first turret.
True.
Yes, fight is here.
Casey the Knight is going engaging onto Eric29. Zinza's in the back line. That Decker guy is looking for a kill. Showstopper comes out to push him away. Erudite is going to get the ulti down onto Nishama. Nishama is just tearing people up on the on-hit build. Ever Azoth is going to be getting a kill. And right now, it's 1v2. That Decker guy is going to look for the outplay. And he does triple kill for Fiora. Is he going to have enough to take out Coach Magros? He does have good items. Ravenous Hydra is going to be able to heal him up.
Get to that
Through it.
Scion.
But it's a Scion. He do
Yeah,
not
he
care.
just soaked
He
up
goes
that
where he
damage and walked
pleases.
out like nothing happened there. I gotta say, Fiora performing very big in that last team fight. I was really nervous when they were starting to posture for that fight, but Scion was still top when it started, and it turned out very well.
And Fiora solos the Drake.
Solo
And that's gonna
Drake.
put him on Drake point.
Who knew that we needed to put a top lane solo Drake on the bingo card?
We'll add it to the next one. 9-2. Huge lead. The
I
only one
imagine-
with the lead on
I
Just Good
imagine
Enough.
she backs and yeah, there's the whole breaker.
Yes, Sid.
There
There it
comes.
is. I'm actually extremely excited to see this item
Yes.
perform.
I mean, this
Let's
is that
see
win
if Split
condition
Push
that you were talking
Fiora
about,
can
right?
get a third turret or a second turret.
I also like the stat tracker on Hullbreaker is bonus damage to towers. I love
I
it.
do not like though that Decker guy is actually top side right now. With teleport, I would want to see him bot side. With this Baron up, you just took the dragon. You know there's no objectives on the bot side. You know Tragedy is going to be all in the top side jungle. You don't need to be top side too if you have teleport.
Well, and there's a
It's
massive
also-
wave down there. Huge
Yeah,
wave.
it'd
outside.
be
gonna-
very, very easy to take that turret right about now.
I mean, that would be.
Yeah,
I mean,
right now she's scared to push up. They're trying to keep track of this Baron. There's actually a sneaky control ward right behind that Baron's head that's actually very difficult to clear out.
Looks like they don't even care about the control word. They're gonna just start Baron right on top of it.
They need to. Case of the 9, that Decker guy, the only two here. All right, the rest, Just Good Enough, are showing up, but Baron's at 3,700. Casey the Knight is going in. That Decker guy is on the backside, just
Oh.
trying to harass as the engage goes on to fixing Mantella, but Piper Mario on the backside, and that's going to be a kill. Shortstopper comes out to try to push him away, but that is Casey the Knight on a Morgana, and he's going to be getting the resets. Erudite does go down on the right side. The kiting is starting to come out. That Decker guy is now Fiora, the big fed Fiora, and is going to get the ulti set. Is now Casey the Knight. Just keep track of the cooldowns, the resets. The pullback comes out, the auto attacks, and Eric29 does go down, and that's going to be a triple kill and an ace for that Decker guy, as Casey the Knight was, I think, every single member of Team Tragesty during that fight.
And we got a
A
bingo.
little bit of-
After all that, we got a bingo from English teacher. Congratulations, Hex Tech on the way.
Was that a bingo for Baron Fight Ace?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a new one.
I do
Or was
have
that
to say,
Baron Fight Throw? Because Just Good Enough has brought it within 2,000.
wow, clawing their way back from a 9k gold lead is... It just tells you how well they've practiced their mechanics, because... I mean, bringing it back from that far down is not something you see very often. Their communication's good, and it's really showing right now.
Well, so this is interesting, right? We just got Hullbreaker Split Push Fiora with Baron buff. Is that going to just be the world's
That's
worst
triple
combo?
Baron Bruff.
That sounds like unkillable minions to me.
Turret deletion, and we'll see if they
Hopefully
play
the chat can actually tell us what Hullbreaker, that item, it's something banners. Maybe it's called Banner Command. I'm not sure if
It
that's
was
the
Banner
exact
of
name.
Command, yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Casey the Knight does ulti away. Eric29 still chasing. Casey the Knight has no more cooldowns, is going to keep fighting, and that's going to be a shutdown going over to Piper Maru. But they do get a kill. The rest, Just Good Enough, are pushing the mid lane.
So now we
But
got
I do see that
What are these trades that are
Fiora's
about
top
to
lane.
happen? That Decker guy is
Damage to
damage.
turret. Oh
What was
my lord.
that? She took out that top tower before 3 could take out bot. and the fight's coming into the bot lane. Ever Asla does slay Eric29 as he goes down, and Fixie Mantella is going to clean up one on the end. SHC Nashama does send out the boomerang, but Fixie Mantella does survive. Erudite doesn't care. He's going to keep chasing. And that Decker guy on the other side of the map does get the kill and is going to continue the push. The split push Fiora is coming online, level 17. There is no way to stop this.
I gotta say, 2 turrets down and already almost 2,000 extra damage to
Is
turrets.
still pushing. Everything is buffed up. Nashama is here to clear the wave. That Decker guy doesn't care. Flashing forward. Is he going to survive? And that's going to be 1,000 gold in the pockets of Sivir. But at what cost? Your entire base is going down.
They are very
shots.
lucky that Sivir has good wave clear, because I gotta say, 3,000 extra damage to turrets after 3 turrets taken. That is absolutely crazy.
Oh, but here's the fight.
delete button.
3 seconds, 2 seconds. Here is the dragon fight. And if they get this Soul Drake, that Digger guy is going to be unstoppable.
They get
And
it
they
very
do.
quickly,
Everybody
absolutely
is going to try to
burning
get
it.
it. But he can't. Eric29 does get the kill. Case of the Night is going to go for the re-engage. Piper Mario pops the ultimate on the Morgana. Resets coming in. Fixie Mantella does get the kill. But here is Scion. Get on the choo-choo train. Let's go, Coach Magros.
Alright. Pretty big ult, and the cooldown and the respawn timers are looking pretty long right now. We're gonna see at
You
least
do have
one.
to watch this. You have to watch this. The pings go out for the teleport into the top lane. She has teleport ready. Is she going to look? Or are they just going to give up the 2 inhibitors?
Wow.
If they could potentially lose way more than just 2 inhibs
They
with
could
this
lose
full
the
push.
game. 10 seconds, 20 seconds on the timer. That Decker guy goes in, and that's going to be showstopper. They're going to continue killing these
Yeah.
turrets. Coach Magros does slam him, and he gets slammed back into the fountain. Erudite's coming in to try to go for the save, but it doesn't matter. The split push Fiora is there. Morgana's back in the base, and that is going to be GG as
Ugh.
Team Tragesty takes the win.
Oh man. And we got the classic glitch.
Ah, yes.
A glitchy night on spectator mode, but wow. Oh my.
Very intense game.
I mean, we saw it come out. We saw the whole breaker split push Fiora. The potential of that is just, that's unbelievable. Just walking down lane like a Nasus.
You throw that item, and a team that's maybe 2-3k gold ahead. Oh man, that would be so oppressive.
Whew. Yeah, that was, I mean, it really looked like it was, I mean, what a great turn from JGE to take advantage of that. A good fight that went in their favor, timers that were in their favor, 2v1 against Baron that they were able to use to really push things out. But at the end of it all, another fight that they got that Drake, but then they ended up losing that fight, and that's what opened the door for Team Tragesty.
I have to say that Blue Side does have a lot of that you're not going anywhere CC, like Xin Zhao dashing over to someone and knocking them up, the Scion ultimate set pull. They have a lot of ways to keep them from running away and disengaging. And there's no enchanter for the Shrileas this game, which really does hurt.
And I think it comes down to, I mean, it was a close game. No doubt about it. But
Oh,
I think
sure.
it comes down to one decision. That Decker guy, huge in the top lane, takes down 3 turrets. Does get the whole breaker, almost wins with just that one item. But does go for that kill on the Shaman on the Sivir on that turret dive around the Nexus. Gets that kill, wins the game. But also has another option to just kill the turret.
Yeah,
Um,
could have just gone for
Keep
turret.
the minions buffed. Like,
Especially since
Nashama
the-
is Sivir, but at some point, like buffed up minions hitting your Nexus, you can't clear everything. And maybe that's something that they look back on and maybe like, okay, maybe that was what changed things. Of course, there were a lot of things. They were 8,000 gold behind at a point, which just VA goes so far behind early game, but still kept fighting, stuck to their game plan.
did a great job.
I do have to commend the Viego after getting getting invaded that entire time early game. At that midpoint, when we checked on the CS, he did have more CS than Xin Zhao, which I find very impressive.
Yeah, this isn't
Definitely able to
anything
turn around.
that anybody needs to be like shaking their head at. Like this was a great game, well played from both sides. Each team played to their win conditions, had a game plan, and executed their game plan. And it was
Luke,
very close either way.
Lucas wants to come in for some post-game analysis. See if we
Do
can.
we bring him in?
Yeah, let's see if we can get some English teacher in here. Watching from the from the outside. See if we can get you in here, Lucas. So if you get that invite, come on over. Tell us what you saw. And we're down. There he is. He's here. He's here. Lucas, tell us what went on.
I just huge shout out to we had our little watch party going on. Shout out to me for getting bingo. Very exciting moment. Looking forward to that masterwork chest.
Wait, what? No, hex
You know,
tech.
Hex tech. Oh,
Hold on.
Oh
Hold
no,
on.
it's not worth it anymore.
yeah. I was hoping if I just gaslighted you into believing that you said masterwork that we'd get one. No, it's okay. It's fine. But shout out to Casey the Knight. I mean, one of the things that we are looking for at as our bingos is we have that 10 death card. And so Casey the Knight got pushed so far behind so early. He was at 9 deaths, what felt like at the 21, 22, 23-minute mark. And then they just kind of flipped it around, right? Like he didn't die, grouped up with that Decker guy. They had a great couple of fights for him. And one of those moments where early game didn't go so great, but especially in that mid game, really, really was able to pull through for his team. So shout out to him. Great job, Casey.
Yeah. And Lucas, speaking of that Decker guy, that 2v1 outplay in
Oh
that
my goodness.
turret dive was immaculate. Like,
Yeah.
definitely champion mastery over Fiora. We've all been there. We've all seen it when that riposte comes out, and it's just like, oh my God, all my stuns didn't land. Nothing lands, nothing hits. And it's just like, what do we do for here? And it's just like the turrets just keep pounding you. And without that 2v1 outplay, this game is over 10 minutes ago.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
like that Decker guy played his mind out to keep
Well,
it
and
that
then a
close.
couple minutes later, was able to escape being chased in the jungle very, very low as well, and was just able to, using those abilities and those spells, knowing your cooldowns, knowing when to just keep things and use them in the right time. I mean, very impressive for sure. And we talked about that at the beginning of the game. Like that Fiora is a win condition. And when Hullbreaker
Absolutely.
came out, it was like, oh man, and Baron buff. All right, this could be it. This is the new train. Like Scion is the choo-choo train, but Fiora is just Thomas running this thing down top lane.
Yeah, it's fun with Fiora comps. You really have two conditions, right? First condition, and most important, have somebody that is capable of playing Fiora, because Fiora is not an easy champion, right? Very, very mechanically intensive. You look at any tier list ever, they might have Fiora in that top S spot or in that A tier, with that asterisk saying, if you cannot play this champion, this is going to be a D for you. Shout out to that Decker guy. He can play some Fiora. Great job.
Yeah, it's
It's
not going to
just
be seen in. I mean, I don't think we'll see. I mean, there's so many champs that we keep saying. I don't think we're going to see that again. So now, now it's a
I'm
tough call, right? Like, what don't you want them to get?
yeah, I know. As I'm looking at my scouting notes for games in the future, I'm tagging in Fiora for that Decker guy, especially with this Hullbreaker edition. But yeah, like I was spamming in the chat, it just the 2v1 outplay and then the attempted dive on Sivir, it's one of those where we see it all the time in professional games too, right? At Worlds, it happens constantly where there's just like a millisecond, one thing different, and it's a completely different result. And it was fun to watch for sure, right? It's just good enough, super down early in the early game, managed to bring it back, make it super competitive, and then an absolute banger of an ending. So great job, Team Tragedy, and just good enough because I had a great time watching.
Yeah, and we have a Neshama in the chat making a big all caps call out for Coach Diff. So
Yeah.
I think it was a coach diff in this game. I think the team with the better coaches won here.
Coach Diff all around. So we'll see that happen. Nishama he's hungry for it.
Do we know when they play Coach Diff? When do we see the Team Tragesty versus Coach Diff matchup?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
It's definitely not tomorrow.
It's
Yeah,
not
not
tomorrow.
It's not tomorrow.
Oh man, this could be. Oh, it's gonna be week 7. It's the
Wow.
last
All right.
game
We
of the
both last.
season.
So
Woo, week 7. So I mean that just tells you that we've got a whole bunch more of some solid matchups as all these teams. I mean, we're just in week 3.5, right?
I think
So
so.
Yes.
tomorrow is
Yes.
when we get into week 4, which means there's 8 teams in the season and we're still only halfway through. So there's still a bunch of games to go, a bunch of learning to be done. And it's only going to get better as we watch these players rank up as they compete and practice and get to know their teams better. So yeah, I mean the games are just going to get more and more intense, and it's just going to get more and more exciting.
Oh, these best of ones are so exciting.
There's so
Like,
much
I
drama.
know I'm looking for like I'm not sure if it's going to be in the semifinals, but I know the finals are definitely best of 3. But these best of ones are just like, oh man, everyone's trying stuff, everyone's skirmishing. It's just like it brings the action. And if you guys couldn't tell, I love the action.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
super glad to get a Wednesday game so we could get Mr. H in the casting booth. And also, Aegis, thank you for being here and giving your pro level insight. You should all check out Aegis Ultimate's channel. He's also streaming pretty much every day. So thanks to everyone out there in Twitch land. Thank you, English teacher, for coming in, hanging out with Mr. Hernandez, myself, and Aegis. Yeah, banger
Wait,
of a
wait,
game.
wait. Can we give out MVP?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have my vote. Do you guys want to cast your vote as well?
Oh,
I'm
man.
just gonna start. I'll
Yeah,
let you guys think
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
Go for it.
love giving out MVP at the end of these matches.
Yeah, here you go.
But I am definitely going to. I mean, hopefully it's not any surprise, but Eric
I was
29
gonna say.
tracking Casey the Knight, putting that pressure. I mean, it's not just having 23 kills, right? It's not just fighting, being there for the team fights, but you relieve so much pressure for your team when you're keeping track of the Viego, the opponent jungler. And he did that to perfection. He was reading him like a book, and that allowed them to get an early lead. Because if this game goes even, just good enough wins. But they were so far behind, they just couldn't claw themselves back into it. So shout out to Eric 29 for me.
Yeah, I mean, Eric 29 for sure. We saw early on, not afraid to contest everything and invade. Um, so big playmaker for that. I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go Coach Magros with that ult after Drake at the very end, coming in 2-2 train, just clearing things out and making sure that there was no contest in that fight. And that was the fight that if whoever wins that gets to run it down. And we didn't see a lot of that Scion play like we did last week, but nice to see that the Scion ult comes out when it's really needed to just completely shut down team fight. So I'm going top lane. What a fight up against Fiora and still able to pull it out.
Do we still have Aegis in here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Who do you think gets
Crunching some numbers
MVP?
on the calculator.
I may I may have to go the flip side of that coin. I think that Fiora played insanely
Yeah,
well,
that's true.
and half a day has gone by, and it's a very bold pick to say, I trust you, Riot, and I'm gonna go with this hole breaker item that has just come out. Because you never know. It may look good on paper and it could be absolute garbage. And takes a lot of faith, and I gotta say that outplay for the turret dive, oof, you love to see
Yeah.
it. Well,
I guess I'm
depending on
playing
what side you
Fiora
are.
tomorrow.
I'm not gonna see any Fiora tomorrow. Can you ban items? That's gonna be the thing. Can we ban
Banning
Hole Breaker?
items. I am a little bit disappointed that I didn't see Nautilus run that Anathema's chains which did not quite get to talk
We didn't
about
get to see
today.
that,
But
yeah.
I a little bit short on the cash, so
You
unfortunately
can only
did not
build
get to see
so
that.
many items, Aegis.
Well, Lucas English teacher, you got an MVP from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo Aegis there. I think, without Fiora keeping just good enough in the game, I think this game's a lot quicker, and he just played super well. The split push was immaculate. Almost pulled off the late game heroics. I really think that if he takes down Sivir there, there's a good chance that we see an open Nexus.
Oh
Right there
my
in that game for
gosh.
sure,
Okay, we're
and
gonna have
that's
to let this
pretty
get to Rift
spicy. So,
Happens.
we'll let it go. But I'm gonna echo Aegis and say that Decker guy on the Fiora. Great job, bud.
There might be some special guests on the next episode of Rift Happens.
Just
It's
to
just the
jump in for the
continuation of this argument.
MVP.
Well, that's a great game. Glad we were able to put it on and have a full booth to cast it. So appreciate it to all y'all and definitely everybody out watching and all the coaches. And we will see you tomorrow for another round of Coach Rivals competitive season. Um, so tune in, hit the follow button, and we will see you tomorrow. So thanks, casters, and thanks everyone out there.